Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Weirdos at Home. I'm so excited about today's episode. Of course, you know me. My name is Sam Slade. That may be the reason why you're not watching this podcast more often. My guest today is a guy I consider, I think I have like two, maybe three, but I think probably two really guys I consider on-set big brothers. And one of which is here with me today. His name is, you may know him from Love and Death. You may know him from Walker. You may know him from Sunday Bass Reeves drops on Paramount Plus. We had a real rainy, miserable day on that set. Ladies and gentlemen,
several.
Jim Tiberius Stovall. By the way, former stunt guy, martial arts master. I want to run down some credits before we get into this. Jim, were you a high school wrestling coach?
A what?
Were you a high school
martial arts coach? I had my first martial arts school when I was 16.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Now, when you got the proclamation from Governor George W. Bush, is that a thing where you meet him?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was a big ceremony. Met him, mayors of Dallas at the time, Houston, and it was basically a shake hands, take a picture with the award, and go to my table.
Yeah, it was very cool. Last week we were in Dallas, and W threw out the first pitch.
Oh wow!
And it was so fun to see him really power up, as if the towers were still smoldering when they announced it. But he threw a dinger to Pudge.
Right.
Both men have obviously aged. Rangers won it. Astros fans, worst fucking fans in the country. I got to say, I'm getting messages from Astros fans going, "I thought you were a Cubs fan." At Wrigley and all stuff. I'm like, this was Texas's Cubs. These were the losers, you know. Enough about that shit. I'm so excited to catch up with you, man. How has your summer been? How is the strike treating you? Tell me what's going on. You always have so many pans on the stove.
Well, so the strike kind of didn't affect us that much because I had kind of pulled away a little bit to work on. We had moved from Austin to Comanche.
Yeah.
So took a little bit of a break, running the family company up here, which is a horse product called Duracell. Getting all that set up, gaining 50 pounds. And, but then I started back about a month and a half, 2 months ago, 47 days, The Verdict, a couple other smaller projects, the Sawyer Massacre, which was last year, which one I was the stunt coordinator for that.
I saw that. And by the way, guys, if you haven't seen Love and Death, check it out. We both look very sexy in it, but more importantly, this man gets to walk a fine piece of murder right into that jail cell.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny when that came out and the trailer came out. My oldest daughter messaged me. She's like, "Dad, you didn't tell me you met her." Oh, you mean you know her?
Well, I also, I wasn't around for those days of shooting. I was only there for the courtroom stuff. So when me getting to watch it and being like, "Oh my God, Jim's walking her in.
Yeah.
Who's got her? Who's got her?" And then I was part of the worst legal team in history that let her off.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it's an interesting story. I mean, I wish that HBO would finish that series and had made something about the actual true life of the lawyer. Lawyer.
He had what was his name? Tom Crowder.
Yes.
And he had a fascinating story. He ran for governor in '86 in Texas. After all that, riding high. Real showboat. I love the way what's his name played him.
Oh yeah, he did a fantastic job.
Man, there's one day I'm getting kind of bored. I didn't have dialogue. I'm getting kind of bored at the table, and I think I was like ripping like pieces off my notebook, just like clearing up that shit like you're in middle school. And I feel Mac Aston nudge Rob, and Rob nudges me, and then I look down the line, and there's Tom Crowder going. I was like, "Oh, sorry." That was such an education to be in on such a huge set, man. And you killed it. I was happy with my silent Brando stuff, but yeah, the Tom Crowder story is a very interesting story. He was didn't he end up killing himself?
Yeah, he committed suicide after the governor thing. And it's just, there's so much unique history in his story that I'd totally forgotten about until that came out.
I mean, I would have watched a series with him playing Tom Crowder.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he's such a good guy to be around, the actor.
Yeah.
Like we had so much fun. Me and Ryan were the ones that were kind of escorting him into as well.
Yeah.
And he was always cutting up and talking to us in between sets. Because remember that big run down the sidewalk he did?
Yeah.
He'd come back. He's like, dude, y'all got some water back here somewhere?
Yeah. We, Rob Huey and I had it easy. We just had to walk in and sit down and look pretty, you know?
Yeah.
And makeup and hair helped us out quite a bit of that. There was one weird take that I don't know how it made it. Rob is like a very accoladed theater performer, theater actor,
Right.
and I'm a comic and a radio guy, and you know, I'd love to be a real actor. And then there's one shot of Rob at one point where he's just smelling his fingers at the table, and you're like, you're making me look like Brando. What are you doing? But it's a fascinating story, and I know most of my female relatives, aunts, my mom, female cousins, they just walked away with, my God, Tom Crowder was sexy.
Yeah. Well, they got the sun tanning in the backyard from him. The viewing of that for the ones that really like him.
Right. He had the full mirror, the foil.
Yeah.
And apparently he played the real Tom Crowder played running back at SMU. So he was a showboat.
Mm-hmm.
That's very
and that's
cool.
why it was so cool to watch him bring his character to life, because he really did. If you go back and find some videos of him, he really did pull his personality out of that.
Yeah, and that was you know, what was also funny. We were going to visit Tara's mom, former co-host, maybe someday again of Weirdos at Home, my partner. Like when you exit in Garland to go to her house, you pass the Como Hotel,
right?
And it's still there. It's just, you know, in the way in the movie or in the show, it's set like it's off this, like, you know, but now it's like right off of an overpass. And
Right.
a couple of Tara's relatives who, you know, long Dallas residents going like, oh no, I remember when that happened. Like, we thought there may be a murder loose.
Right. Yeah, serial killer.
Well, bad sex can lead to bad things, Jim. I don't know what to tell you.
True statement.
So I guess you weren't there for the shower scene, right?
No, I was not there for that.
That's that's fine. That's fine. She doesn't want to do Marvel anymore either. So
yeah, I heard.
And you gotta give her credit, right? That's tough to walk away from that kind of money.
Oh, absolutely.
But man, so you taught martial arts. How did you get to a place where at 16 you're opening your own martial arts school? Like were you fucking Karate Kid? What the fuck?
So my instructor, when I transferred to my instructor, who I hold all my rank through, when he wanted to go open a second location, so he turned that location over to me at 16. I was already head instructor, and then he turned it over to me. My dad had never done martial arts, and because we were competing so much, and back then, in order to coach, you had to be a black belt. Yeah. So my dad started taking martial arts so he could sit in the coach's chair, so that we had someone just in case both of us were fighting at the same time.
Wow.
To make sure that we always, I will always. It's just such an admirable thing to do. And then he fell in love with Hapkido. So he stayed in it for a while, but
it was very cool at Papa Stovall.
Yeah, very cool.
You know, I grew up playing basketball very competitively and thinking I was good. You know, at one point we're going to the league, but my dad couldn't even dribble. Right. And as far as my martial arts career, when they made it clear, like the second day of karate, that the ninja stars aren't coming off the wall, I was like, Dad, get the car. Just go. Yeah. Just get the car. And I'll meet you in the parking lot. We're out of here. We're not fucking doing this.
Yeah.
I came to do Ninja Turtle stuff. I'm not here. Fuck this discipline noise.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating, man. That's very cool, man. You extremely decorated. Would you, we were talking a little bit before this. Stunt performers aren't treated very well, are they?
Well, stunt performers background, unless you are the A-list actor on set or the director, back in the day, it was just, you were lucky if you got fed. You were lucky if they had water on set. Like it just wasn't a good experience. And to go from, a point in my life where I am really, focused and on other things, to go somewhere and be treated like dirt just wasn't for me.
Right.
I've got a lot of buddies who are in the industry that left what we did. Dana who left to go, she was an Olympic medal winner, and she left and she's done stunts for all sorts of people. JJ Perry, who just did the vampire movie with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
He left here to go do sidekicks for Chuck Norris.
Oh,
and then
dude.
it took him a while to get all that. And he just went out there, packed his bag and said, "This is what I'm doing."
Well, I've got to say, you ruined, at one point you ruined a weekend for me. You didn't know you did. We're wrapping something at Walker. We're both Rangers, and we've been kind of talking about this throughout the day. And at the end of the day, but I'm like, all right, Jim, hey man, if you're out of here, I'll see you later. And you're like, hey, watch that Val Kilmer doc. And
yes, sir.
It wrecked us.
Yes.
Wrecked us.
Yes. I've been wanting to go back and watch it because like it completely wrecked me when I saw it the first time. So I know there's parts that I probably missed and could go back and pick up on, but it's just such an amazing story and documentary. And you hear all the stuff that Val Kilmer personally went through is just incredible.
He really was, and I would put you up if I got to put a Batman in the running. I picked Jim Stovall. I mean, he was it's crazy to think about it. Such a sex symbol, and then I don't know if about you when you saw Top Gun 2. If you saw Top Gun 2, I sobbed when he showed up.
Yes, so did I. I was sitting on the couch watching Top Gun 2, and then they brought him out, or he went to that meeting with him.
Going to visit him, yeah.
And it literally brought tears to my eyes because you could see it. And then they had the cool picture of him on the wall.
Yeah, at the very beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
How great is that fan service, man? You got to think like Tom Cruise must really have respect as an actor,
right?
For him. Who are the guys you grew? Who are the guys Who are the guys who made you want to get into stunts and acting?
Honestly, it was kind of so back in the day. Chuck Norris was doing his thing. We had done a lot. We'd met Chuck through martial arts. He was always at the bigger events. So we were always getting phone calls. Hey, this movie's. There used to be a series of movies with a Japanese guy named Sho Kosuke. Back in the day, the Ninja Warrior and all those. So that's kind of the direction we went, is extras and stunts and those. And my big time on screen at that point was getting an arrow to my face.
Nice.
for a millisecond of time.
Which we'd be remiss to mention for Tara that you just told me this. Tell me again, you were baptized on a reservation.
Yes, in New Mexico on the Mescalero Apache reservation.
That's a really special thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was. I tried to go back and visit it with my kids once they got older, visit the church, but the church actually burned down, I think, early 90s. So all the stuff that was in the church is gone. They've since put a new church up, but it's not the same.
Right, it's not the place.
Yeah.
I interviewed Chuck Norris once. I was 19 or 20 for a morning radio zoo show here in Austin called the Billy and Bob Show, and we kind of hit it off. I was kind of surprised. He's a sweet
great guy.
dude.
Mm-hmm. I had several of my students leave us in Houston because that's where I'm originally from, and then they went up to work with him for his Kick Drugs Out of America program.
Yeah,
so he would send
deal. That was a huge deal
into schools. Yeah, huge. And I had two instructors go up there to do that with him because it was just such a great program.
I mean, and then look, two of us who had such great experiences with the man, and then work on a show that it's killing him in his soul.
Yeah.
He fucking hates New Walker. He hates it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another one that, so my oldest daughter is Elizabeth Olsen fan. My youngest daughter, Mackenzie, goes to Comic-Con, and she always dresses up as Jared's character from Supernatural.
Okay, okay. That's, by the way,
So,
people don't realize that supernatural shit is so big.
oh yeah, yeah. It's like any other following. I mean, it's got true following.
It's huge.
Yeah. But I messaged her and told her who I was on set with when we did Walker that time. And on Walker, I was like you were a reoccurring Ranger.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What?"
The difference is you didn't get cut out. The difference is people were like, he looks like a Ranger. And they were like, hey, Farley, fucking back in the room.
Yeah, I don't look like a Ranger anymore.
Oh no, but one good haircut and a shave, and you're back, baby.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I do look like a Ranger from the 1800s.
And then you have Bass Reeves, which that was a crazy day of shooting. I didn't know you were going to be there. We show up, and boy, I think I did one day, and I was like, "Fuck this."
Yeah, yeah. I did that day with you, and that was my absolute worst time on set ever
of all time.
Like,
it was. What do you think it was? Was it in the 20s or in the teens? It was fucking freezing.
It was freezing and drizzling rain, and I had us standing out there in formation offset. They wouldn't let us go sit in the trees and get out of it. Then they brought us food that was literally cold
ice cold.
Yeah, there was no way to get warm. But I got a call back later on about doing. I was a Union soldier then, and I got a call back about being a Confederate soldier. And then that time being on set, way different, much better. Everything was more organized. Yeah, I think it was just they were just getting in. We were on one of the first days.
I know that's the first episode that will air this Sunday.
Yeah, and
watch this.
So they weren't really in their groove yet. But so I went back on Bass Reeves 6 or 7 more times.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Yeah, it's cool. There was a very crazy moment for me. I was a juror, so I'm walking in, and the guy I'm walking in to the courtroom with is bigger than me, which isn't hard. So he's bigger than me, broad shouldered, and we're walking up to the judge's thing to take a right to go to the juror box. He turned right, and then Donald Sutherland is sitting right here.
Oh man!
And I'm just true fanboy moment, almost completely just froze in my seat. I had no idea we were doing something, that he was going to be there.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
Yeah,
that's so cool. You know, like on Love and Death, it was easily the most treated with respect role that I'd ever been a part of or had. Right. And I 4 a.m. they're doing my hair, and the hair lady's going, I did LeBron's hair, baby. And you're like,
yeah.
And it takes like 3 weeks to realize, like, what do you mean you did LeBron's hair?
Yeah.
but Bruce McGill would come in and sit down.
Yes.
And at one point, and both Animal House alum, and at one point I'm like kind of walking towards him, and I don't know what the look I had on my face, but he's like, yeah, I know you're gonna ask me about Belushi. You guys look the same every time. But he was a very sweet guy. Did you get to talk to Sutherland?
I got to just say hi that one moment. He just smiled and said hi, but he is
he's a gamer, man.
He's just not in really good shape right now. He's really
not. I wasn't aware.
Yeah. And I didn't want to kind of pull it out in the public, but yeah, he's just not doing so hot. But his son was there, not Kiefer, but the other one.
Yeah,
was there to assist him. But on Love and Death, the one you were just talking about, when he would come out, me and Ryan were the opposite officers. So he'd come out and do his little speech and smoke his cigarettes and hit us on the shoulder and thanks guys for keeping me safe kind of stuff.
Dude, at one point, Rob and I still laugh about this. At one point, Bruce McGill, they're shooting something that he's not even in the coverage, and you just hear out of nowhere, I can't smoke anymore.
Yeah.
and then the director literally was like, you don't have to. Like, you can, it's fine. Yeah. But he was just puffing heaters fucking.
Yeah. It was pretty funny. And making him smoke those clove cigarettes.
Oh, no, I think he was smoking real cigarettes.
He might have been, but all the other people were smoking those clove cigarettes. So there's a real.
Dude, I had to do that. Their tea tree. I had to do that on leftovers. And before I even smoked cigarettes, I'm trying my ass off to quit. The strike really helps, and and Donald Trump really helps, and the Lakers sucking really help. Anyways, but yeah, you just heard him to like punch one down. I can't smoke anymore. Everybody's like, God bless you, man. Like you didn't have to put this much into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool being on set and meeting people like Bruce or Donald Sutherland, and then also from Bass Reeves. What's the other sheriff's name? I can't even think of his name.
There's Barry Pepper was in it. I mean, what did you have any interaction with Costner?
No, Costner was not on set, but man, I can't even think of his name now.
Ty Sheridan.
No, I did. Sheridan was on set just the one time when you and I were there. That first day of filming, and then we never saw him on set again.
It was when that cannon fucked up.
Yes, yeah, that was so funny. The opening day of duck season, and the hunters are all around were trying to shoot ducks, and all of a sudden those cannons start going off. Boom, 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 boom. That was quite funny.
The story I take away from that was I don't know what I'd ate on the way there, some dirty, Metroplex gas station burrito or whatever on my way. We get halfway through the day. It's been uncomfortable. I was whining to you all day, and I was like, no. This isn't porta potty stuff. I need a bathroom.
Yeah.
And we're wearing all this old school Civil War gear that takes forever to get off.
Yes.
As soon as I get off and sit down on the toilet, no kidding, I've looked him up. I can't remember his name. A Paramount executive busted the door, and I have to do like the girl in the back. Don't come in here. Don't come in here. And he literally, as he slams the door, is like, lock the goddamn door.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But when you look back at movies that shaped you, what would you point to?
As far as my personal taste in movies,
the things that made you like fall in love with movies.
Any period movie,
really,
all the way back
period
to
piece guy.
Wolves. Yeah, I'm a period piece guy. Dances with Wolves, Gladiator, like just the whole anything about. I'm a history buff, so I love history, and that was the one thing that when a historical movie, or they base a movie off a character and then they really tell the story well, versus change it up and do things. A
lot of talk about Killers of the Flower Moon right now about how much they changed it up.
Yeah. So just I love checking. If I see a movie, I'll go down a rabbit hole about the actual character it was based off of, if it was.
Yeah, and just like you just did with Tom Crowder.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. I was never into history, but not a period piece guy.
Yeah.
Met my better half, and she is all about the crown and about Rome and all those. I'm like, it seems like a pain in the ass to get to the bathroom.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, there was a movie, a series recently that I started watching that was, I think it was a Billy the Kid, like a B grade Billy the Kid style, and it was so far off from any sort of reality. I turned it off.
It was a story it was just made up.
Yeah, just complete fiction.
How do you feel about like when Tarantino kind of does his fan fiction history?
I'm okay with that because I'm a Quentin Tarantino fan. Like, I love the way he does things. He just kind of puts his own twist on it, and it's entertainment versus like a true period piece that is, if they would take the name of the Billy the Kid off, it'd be a decent movie.
Sure.
But because they've attached it to history and you have the comparison going on, it just kind of shuts me out.
Right. As soon as this is bullshit. Right.
Exactly.
I think I always tell Tara I know history from like 1950 to now.
Right.
And I worked in politics for a very long time. I mean, 15 years is a long time to be burned out by 40. And
Right.
I think Oliver Stone's W and I think Adam McKay's Vice did a very good job as opposed to like JFK.
Right.
As far as really telling the story.
Exactly. Yeah. There. It's funny. Young Guns with
Charlie and Emilio and
Charlie, Emilio, all them.
everybody was
It
in
actually
that
did a
movie.
really good job of keeping the historical points that are
Wait, who is
known.
that based on? Is that based on
Billy the Kid?
that is?
Yeah, it's based on Billy the Kid and that whole the war that went on that made Billy the Kid famous. Like
Wow.
it was a range war basically, and just it's a power play.
I guess I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah.
To realize that it was a fucking true story. It's
And they did Hollywood it a little bit, but they did a really good job of keeping the key points. Did you see that recently that they found a new picture of Billy the Kid?
no.
So some dude at a garage sale picked up a picture for 25 cents and then realized it's a picture of Billy the Kid. And it's
That nobody knew for the most part existed.
No one knew it existed. It had been passed down from place to place. It was just in an old thrift store, just of old black and white photos. And then he picked it up and he's like, "That's Billy the Kid," and it's worth, I think, $1 million now.
Holy cow! So I didn't know we were going to go this in this direction, but I have to ask. Please tell me and tell the folks watching, because it's clear you're a fan. Of BTK, the original BTK. What is it about his story? Break it down for the kids watching who have no clue.
The thing about Billy the Kid, like, he's a murderer, granted, but he got pushed to a point where he decides, I'm fighting back, and we all do that. I'm a fighter at heart, as my career says, and when you push someone or poke and prod, and back then those range wars and the big powerful people are coming through trying to push everybody out, and that's exactly what happens. Someone fights back,
and he was the guy who decided to stand up.
Yeah, and he did it in a way that, and he also did it to anybody that, he had a little bit of Napoleon syndrome. Look at me wrong, I'm going to shoot you in the face. So I'm just a fan of all of it.
That's very cool. Speaking of Napoleon, there's a Napoleon movie coming out.
Like
it's going to be epic.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to watching that. And the actor
Joaquin Phoenix,
man, I'm a fan of his. He's a great actor. He does such a good job all across the board.
He's another guy
that's had an amazing story life. Losing his brother River early, and then just keep on pushing through all the obstacles he had to deal with.
You got to think. For a guy to make a movie about the Joker that has nothing to do with Batman, that's taken seriously.
Right.
That's a testament to the performance, if anything, right?
Exactly. And another actor that I really, really kind of admire is Robert Downey Jr. His whole story, from being a kid star to overcoming addiction to.
It's a really incredible story.
It's an incredible story. And even the funny parts of Robert Downey hiding food on set, and he'll hide a snack somewhere, and in the middle of filming, go pull it out from his little hiding spot. And that's why he's always eating on set. That's how he gets past he curves his addiction with snacks.
But just to go from, this guy who, okay, we'll give him a shot on Ally McBeal. After he SNL, Weird Science, Back to School, Less Than Zero,
which,
dude, Less Than Zero,
a mirror of his life.
and then to look up and nobody wants. Favreau decides this is our guy for Iron Man, and Mel Gibson puts up the money.
Right.
That's insane, and it changed. I mean, the entire world of superhero movies is now based on Robert Downey's performance.
Yeah,
You know, I don't think if he crushes it, if he doesn't crush his Iron Man, we don't get 35 movies later, right? Like,
right, exactly. You know, when he nailed that role and did it in a way that made you want more of his role, like that just, it brought everybody in. And then you got Thor and all those things.
I mean, there's talented actors in that original Marvel group, right? Ruffalo, Chris Evans, Hemsworth, but nobody is near as captivating.
Right? No, not at all. He is just, he brings such personality onto set and anything he does. I mean, look at him in the English movie.
Chaplin. Are you talking about Chaplin?
No, when he played the detective.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
No.
I'm 0-2. I'm behind the count.
Man, I am sorry.
No, you're fine. Here, I got to grab some real quick, but hang on 1 second. 5 seconds. Brainstorm.
My dear Watson, whatever. I'm Googling.
An English movie with Robert Downey Jr.
Watson, the detective.
Oh, when he did Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes. I don't know why I couldn't think of that.
Three fucking Sherlock Holmes movies like it was a superhero.
Yeah.
Dude, and to do that intermittently with Iron Man and the British accent, and to somehow for the first time ever make Sherlock Holmes sexy.
Yeah, and he did it, you know, to go from Iron Man to that, because it's two totally different quirky personalities.
Right.
It's just an amazing job.
There's a story out this week that apparently Marvel's shitting the bed right now.
Oh, why?
Bob Iger feels that they've kind of saturated the market, and what made Marvel money was quality, not quantity.
Right.
And now that it's quality, and now it's quantity and not quality, he's saying we got to scale everything the fuck back. And now they're even talking about what writers can we hire to make it make sense for Robert Downey to come back.
Right.
I mean, his death at Endgame, not to make this the Robert Downey fucking memorial show, but to his death at Endgame, that's up there with fucking Vito Corleone dying for me, as far as the reaction the first time you see it.
Exactly.
It's powerful, and you know, I don't think Cusack couldn't have pulled that off, right? Like Emilio couldn't have pulled that off.
No. And I'll tell you another actor that I'm fond of is Tom Hardy. That man can go from one side to the other and everything in between. I never would have guessed it.
I don't think we've seen the best of Tom Hardy yet.
No.
With everything he's done, I don't think we've even scratched the surface.
Yeah. You know, to go from Warrior to This Means War.
And then Bane and do a whole movie with that mask on.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's just such a great actor. And I think it's just, like you said, we have not seen the best of him yet.
No, we haven't. And I saw he just signed a comic book deal while he's trying to figure out what he wants to do acting wise. It's like a DC adjacent kind of thing. His credit is like a consulting writer. I think it's the kind of thing where the writer calls him and Tom Hardy's like, sounds cool. Wasn't there a mob thing where he played the brothers?
Yeah.
Two twin brothers. It didn't get credit that it deserved.
No, not at all. No, that was a fantastic, and again, a true story.
Yeah.
And he nailed the persona that person was set to have. And they all did. Even Shia LaBeouf did a good job in that role. And I'm not his biggest fan, but I give him credit where credit's due.
Right. And you know, Shia was Ezra Miller before Ezra Miller, right? Like
Exactly.
Shy is the guy who is always super fucking talented, but you go, but he's kind of a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Pirates of the Caribbean, the character that
Was Hardy in that?
no, I'm talking about a new character.
Ronnie Wood.
No, the main character, the pirate.
Oh, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
He is also an incredibly versatile from left to right.
Yeah, but don't you feel like, Jim, don't you feel like he's got to that place where he's like he's almost too big to get into it anymore?
Yeah, well, and not only that, once you created that pirate, that character, he did it in such an amazing way. No one else could have done that.
No.
Like no one could have pulled that off. But he did it in such an amazing way. That's all you see. Especially there's 13 Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right. And he did them all. You got to give him credit.
Yeah.
He did them all.
Yeah.
So as an actor, would you rather be the character actor guy? I love asking actor buddies of mine this question. There's a guy who's constantly, you go, holy shit, was that him?
Uh-huh.
Or is it where they go, yeah, that's Jim Stovall doing the Jim Stovall thing?
Right, exactly. I would personally, I would love to be able to be as versatile as some of the names we've been discussing. It just being able to go from one to the other and creating that persona. Hey, and one of the reasons I like doing this is because I don't have to be me for a day. I can be something else.
Yeah,
and that's just
I'm with you on that. That's where I miss guys like Robin Williams and Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh yeah, yeah. Robin was fantastic. I was watching Fern Gully the other day. Fern Gully is a cartoon where Robin Williams played the fruity bat.
I saw it as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it was right before Aladdin. I think that was his voice gig to where Disney was like, all right, get him in here as Aladdin.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. Because he did. I mean, he's still Robin Williams.
Right. As captivating in person as he can be in voice.
Exactly.
That's insane.
Yeah. To be able to be that captivating as just a voice is a true special talent.
Performance, a real performance. Would you ever be interested in doing voiceover work?
Yeah, I would. I would love to do voiceover work. Huh?
It came up, if it,
Oh, absolutely. I would love to do voiceover work so one of the things I have realized getting back into set, because of my concussions, I've got a couple of tics. So being in the front of the screen actually brings them out more. So that's something I'm kind of redirecting of going back and being behind the scenes or extras or stuff like that, because the leading role, while I've got a couple of lead role set, we'll see how that goes. But when I really focus on memory, my eyes blink and I have not been able to break it. Yeah.
I've never noticed that about you on set. We've been on 3 sets. I've never picked that up. I had way too many concussions as a basketball player that I should have had.
Yeah.
I thought I was Dennis Rodman, like diving all over the floor, right? But I'm sure through your martial arts career, did you take like some real shots?
Well, I only had 3 in my martial arts career. The rest of them is just, I'm an active person. And I just had
active person. I was too. Yeah.
And it wasn't until number 16 that I noticed a full change, like things changing. My hands have always shaken because of them, but 16 got me to a point, like my memory, as you can tell, just in this conversation, I can picture something, but I can't bring it out to words.
Did it ever fuck with, I know the worst one I ever got was a guy beat the shit out of me at a hotel. Stephen F. Austin slammed my head into a marble table a few times. And to this day, my brothers and my buddies, like the old school buddies, claim that it changed my personality. Did you ever find that?
It does. And with the one thing that I've noticed is if you drink, it accentuates that even more. Like your personality changes just a little bit. Your fuse gets way shorter.
And shorter and shorter and shorter.
My
Yeah.
filter is non-existent sometimes.
Oh, I mean, you're on the right podcast, my man. It's just such a crazy time. You know, a couple of years ago, we thought, well, cut the cord. It's all going to be streaming. And here we are now, and it looks like the in game may be everybody's back on like one or two fucking providers, and we're all watching the same stuff again.
Exactly.
I don't have a problem with that at all, but it's just, man, what a fucking missed oversight, right?
Right. You know, I remember so I quit using cable after the fire in Bastrop because we didn't have it, the ability to even have it for like 6 months.
Yeah.
So that changed my viewing.
You're consumering, your consumership.
Yeah, so I started going to Amazon Prime and Netflix, and that's basically Amazon Prime, Netflix, and Hulu. With those three, there's nothing you can't see. And YouTube.
And then if you want to do superheroes, you got Disney Plus.
Yes. Yeah.
If somebody came to you and wanted you to play a superhero, would you take them up on it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you want to do your own stunts, right?
Well, not as much as I used to. I hurt now. Used to.
You're not gonna go full Tommy Cruise.
No. I'm it takes longer to heal.
Yeah, I'm realizing that just from a spicy sandwich.
Yeah. It's funny.
It's funny how this superhero boom is kind of like just it's over now. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. But at the same time, there are great movies that come out that people don't go out to theaters because they know in 2 or 3 months or even 6 weeks, we'll get it on streaming and we'll pay a fourth of the money and we can all watch it at home.
Right. And that's I think one of the things that is going to change for everybody is the fact the movie theaters are they have to go to it being a point of interest. And you know, you're going to be able to drink, you're going to be able to eat and do everything at the theater is the only reason you're going to get people now, because everybody can watch it at home. Top Gun 2, I would have loved to have seen in the IMAX because just the flights and all that would have been amazing.
We were watching it on the big screen, and I was working for just the worst idiot candidate I've ever worked for, consulting for him, and I had to walk out of the movie at the beginning of the third act and we lived within walking distance of the theater, and I had to go home and like get on a spreadsheet. And Taro comes home, walks in the door, tears. By the way, I had to campaign for her to see this movie and to watch one for weeks. She walks in, tears streaming down her face, like, boy, did you fuck up. But yeah, I think it's going to have to be an event, right? Like, we're not going to get any more of these huge openings anymore.
No, because right now, the day the movie hits, it's already online somewhere.
Right.
There's on people are pirating that stuff almost immediately, streaming it live for YouTube.
I'm guilty of it. Did you see the new Indiana Jones?
No, I have not.
That's fine.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Harrison Ford's story? Like
I'm obsessed with Harrison Ford's story.
So, are you familiar with the very beginning of how he got started?
Yeah, please tell the folks.
Oh man. So Harrison Ford went to Hollywood, couldn't make it. He went onto this set. The director called him in and said, "Look, man, this just isn't your thing.
You'll never be a leading man, right?
You'll never be a leading man. You're never going to be this." So he left, took a couple years off, went back into doing construction.
I think it was more than a call. I think it was almost like 10 years.
Yeah, it was a good bit. And then his buddy called him and said, "Hey man, they're doing a read. They need someone just to fill in. It's not going to be you're not going to read to try in the role. They just need a body."
Right.
And
you get getting paid for a week, whatever.
Yeah. And he was like, all right. So he went in there and he was all surly and just about it. and it was for Star Trek,
Solo.
and they were like,
Han Solo.
"That's Han."
And by the way, beat out Kurt Russell.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine that.
Man, and that's crazy. We've never seen them in a movie together.
Well, in so a few years later, the original director that told him he would never be anything, Harrison Ford and his wife were at a restaurant eating in Hollywood. The director was at another table away from him. So he gave the waiter a card and he sent it over to Harrison Ford. And he's like, well, I guess I called that one wrong.
And boy, is that not the best fucking feeling in the world?
Oh, yeah. 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 He didn't even go talk to him or say hi or anything. He just left.
I saw this is it's somewhat unrelated, but there was a clip going on Instagram lately of David Blaine at Harrison Ford's house. Have you seen that? And David Blaine.
Oh, yes, I have.
He shuffles the cards and he goes, and Harrison goes, "My card's not in there." And he goes, "Okay, pick up a random piece of fruit from your fruit bowl."
Yeah.
And he's like, and he picks up one, the orange, and he's like, "Whatever you want." He picks up a lemon, cuts it. There's a card folded up. It's his card, and Harrison Ford just goes, "Get the fuck out of my house."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that not too long ago.
It's crazy sometimes when you find out like guys who were considered for roles that you can't even imagine them in.
Yeah. The comedian from Toy Story.
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen. So he got his start. He was an alcoholic at 12 years old.
Wow. Well, then he got popped at the Canadian border with like an ounce of Coke.
Yeah. Went to jail. In jail, he started doing comedy, and then he came out and realized that comedy was his thing, and that's where he came from.
And just blew up overnight almost.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. You know, I heard Stallone say something, and it's so cheese dick to be like, let me tell you something inspirational Sly Stallone said. You know, like you never expect that from there, right? He was at a Toronto International Film Festival last year, and they said, "What do you say to like struggling actors, struggling performers?" And he goes, just wait a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can just hang on, like you never know, you may get to like the call will come if you're bringing it.
Yeah, and in the industry, I think it's truly a who you know or who you are in front of at the right time.
Yeah,
it's strictly that.
Dude, you and Brian Colson on Walker were telling me, dude, you got to send your stuff over to the Love and Death people. And I'm like, I okay, whatever. I'm liking this little Walker thing. I get to carry a badge and a gun, and that's fun as fuck and a lot more fun than COVID. And then somehow Thomas, I didn't drop his name, great AD, he somehow kind of, I get an email saying, hey, we want you to be in a lineup for like a assistant district attorney.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Mm-hmm. That's so one of the things on Love and Death, the reason that me and Ryan got kind of basically thrown into the limelight.
You guys, by the way, for folks watching, you guys were like, when I showed up as a ranger, you guys, by the way, keep in mind, I was the Round Rock Donuts guy that got bumped up to ranger.
Yeah.
But you guys were like the seniors. You guys were like the cool rangers. Y'all knew how to do
it. Yeah, we were on there a lot. But it's funny, my last time on Walker, they called me because they needed a handyman with a mustache. So that was my last thing on Walker.
That's really funny. They moved me from an episode as the Round Rock Donuts guy, chili cook-off.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very hilarious, we lost, and I did like a Farley thing. Oh, it's okay, like hug people. And then they bumped me up after a year or so with you to an FBI guy. And then I went that one day as an FBI guy, and Phil, that director, who was the in-house soul of that show, goes, he can't be here. He's played everything. And then the last time I was on it, it was like disheveled and the mustache, and I was at like a wedding.
Right.
But that's the nice thing about network, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah. You got lots of faces.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
think all
it's
this
funny.
stuff?
My funnest. Do what?
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my funnest day on Walker was the day of the big 18-wheeler crash and explosion.
Oh yeah, we rolled. Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to drive the stunt car that day.
Mhm.
So the stunt police car where we roll up after the explosion and kind of skid into spot and
Yeah,
hop
we all
out.
get out.
Up. Yeah.
No, I was there. I was there. I think, Jim, when they were like, "Can anybody drive?" And you're just,
Yeah.
boom, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so much fun, man. And then there was one guy that drove one of the cars. I think there was 4 cars that were being driven.
Right, we're pulling up.
Yeah, and I think one of the guys was gonna be a driver, and then
They pulled him
he
out.
almost hit Jared, and they yanked him out of the car.
Yeah, that was a really fun day, man. That was a really fun movie making day.
That was a great day on set.
No, it was just fun. I mean, do you remember the crowd? Like, I mean, the people from other office buildings came down.
Well, and they were standing on top of the big, like 10-story building next to
Yeah,
us.
just to
Whole roof
watch.
was covered.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
means that was all word of mouth. That wasn't social media.
Yeah, no, and it took 6 hours for them to set up the cable to do that whole.
And they had one shot, which is incredible for CW. You know, guys like A24, HBO, you can rack that shit, keep people there all fucking night, right?
Right.
But CW has one shot.
Yep. They got one shot,
man.
And one vehicle to blow up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we can't call Hertz.
Oh
man, so do you think this changing climate of films and stuff, do you think it's going to help or maybe empower network shows again? Like, as far as like, nothing's good been in a network for a minute because everybody runs off to the streamers. And
I think it's going to empower them. I think that networks are going to kind of change how they do things. I really do think the networks are going to take a little bit stronger stance in some of this and try and emulate what's going on everywhere else.
Make better content, you mean? Like produce better shows?
Yeah. Because, there's one of the things that, that this has done is show the big boys, the little guys can do it just as well. And if you work with us, we will do it for you.
Yeah, we'll work with you, right?
Yeah. So don't cut us out. Let us do it for you. Let us create this amazing project and this amazing deal. I'm working with a friend of mine on Longship. He runs Longship Productions, and that's the Viking movie that I left Love and Death to start growing this out for. But he's got a couple of projects that he's working on. And I'm going to be on the back side of the camera for those. So stunt coordination.
What are you going to be doing?
Stunt coordination.
Cool. What's the story about?
Directing, kind of guiding, helping write some of the stories. Like a couple of the ideas are actually mine, and they're I can't wait to get them to see it.
All right. Well, we have to get it. We have to get into this right now. First of all, what is the story of this project?
The Viking.
Yeah.
So Valhalla Awaits. I had tried out for that role. I left being on set for Walker or Love and Death and drove to Houston for the reading. And when I got there, they had told me, in the thing, hey, you need to have a 1-minute dialogue. Come prepared.
Wow.
And I hadn't done
1 minute.
Yeah. A 1-minute dialogue. So I couldn't think of anything. So on the way there was a meme that came across my phone early that morning. It was something about, there's 2 kinds of people, givers and takers.
Sure.
Which one are you? So my 1-minute dialogue, when I got up in front of it, was based upon that meme.
Wow.
And and I got the lead role, started growing out my hair. The project originally was supposed to start filming last year, but the investors that were funding the whole project were heavily vested in Bitcoin.
Oh, shit.
When Bitcoin tanked, so did they. So it went back in the can. We've got some other people, coming back on board. So it's going to kick off. Plus they're going to film it at our Viking Festival village.
That's what I wanted to get into. You have a love for Viking lore more than anyone I've ever met.
Yeah.
Please break that down. Help folks who maybe don't get it. Because you fucking I mean, you run a film festival.
Yeah. Yeah. So the festival that we're doing, we are building this year. It's actually going to be, we leased out another fairgrounds in Kilgore, Texas. Next year, it will be on a hard site where we're building it from the ground up. When you step into the property, it will be as if you stepped back in time several hundred years, because you won't be able to see anything from today.
Like almost like a Renaissance fair, but it's a film festival.
Yeah, but it's a Viking village. It's gonna be a Norse village. So it's gonna be a longhouse, 3 Viking longships, the cabins, the pens for animals, areas for kids. We're gonna have catapults set up, a full village fence all the way around it that kind of like a castle.
As accurate as possible. What about the Viking stuff fucking gets you going?
Just the historical, everything about it. So the one thing about Vikings that first kind of intrigued me, man, a Viking was a farmer or this or that. Then they got on the boat, they went to war, they came home, and they went back to farming. And one of my favorite sayings was, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yeah, right.
Because that was Sun Tzu.
It's kind of a great book for the kids watching. But it kind of the Tom Hanks vibe from Saving Private Ryan, right? Like he's a history teacher until it's time to go fight.
Exactly. And that's kind of the way, you live your life with a certain set of I guess moral compass. You live and breathe and become a certain person, and that is you.
You develop your own values and what you stand for.
Yes, and then you stand up for them. And if you have to fight for them, you fight for them. There will be a time you have to, protect your family,
right, or what you believe in,
or what you believe in. Yeah. So, and that's one of the things about when you look back in history, all of the great wars, all of the battles, whether it's Vikings, us, the USA, becoming their own country, it all started because someone decided, I'm done.
The network speech, right? Matt is telling I'm not going to take it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we could use a little bit more of these days in the right way.
Yes.
I think a lot of people have that these days, but it's not directed the right way.
Well, and the worst part about today, I really do believe the internet has been one of mankind's biggest poisons. It is so easy for someone to get online and find information that has zero truth and believe it as if it was biblical, or you know what I'm saying? Like if it was,
and ride it till the wheels come off.
Exactly.
I was on a show yesterday called Critical of Thinking with a couple comics and actors in LA, Ty Barnett and Ian Harris, and they play these videos of these raw videos of people just these journalists walking up and interviewing Trump supporters, and the shit they'll repeat. And I wouldn't bring it up if it wasn't so crazy, but like Joe Biden is actually James Woods.
Do what?
Joe Biden. There's some significant number of Trump voters who believe that Joe Biden's dead and it's James Woods.
Well, the whole anonymity of being
on. I'm saying that never happens without the internet.
Yeah, the keyboard warriors are alive and well, and Mike Tyson said it best. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Well, that's the truth. That's the truth. I don't really trust anyone's, as far as a man's fellow male's opinion, if they haven't ever had the shit beat out of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many people that love to, especially online, man, they'll get behind that keyboard and just rattle off the most horrible things you could possibly say to another person about another person, whether it's political or whatever it is.
Or whatever.
It's just not not the way I live my life or want to live my life or want to
I
be
mean,
associated.
it's enough, Jim, to make you want to go back to like 3 channels and like the 3 news guys, right?
Yeah.
Like to where like, they're just reading it.
Mhm.
Cronkite never, rare unless the president got killed or somebody got shot at, Gerald Ford, for instance, nobody ever had an opinion.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, I really wish we could get back to a point where you turn on the TV and because reporters used to live by a code. Like they were die hard. I am getting the truth out.
It's the facts. All the president's been, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, we're so far away from that, which is why going back to the historical movies that I like, when they truly pick up on history,
and stand up.
and stand up. And one of the things, even in Top Gun, even though it's not a historical movie, Top Gun 2, if you're familiar with Top Gun, all the little connections back.
It's a perfect continuation.
Yeah. Yeah. Even his girlfriend, Jennifer Connelly,
Yeah.
in Top Gun, they mentioned her by name.
Right. She was you buzzed another flight tower.
Yeah. Yeah. You had, you were with the commander's daughter. And unless you remember that from the movie, you don't make the connection.
You don't get it, right? That's just great fan service. Tara's so tired of occasionally hearing the Cougar held on too tight. He lost his edge. I can't believe I'm sending you two to Top Gun. What'd you think about Miles Teller in that movie? He got mixed reviews. I loved him, dude. I'm ready.
Which one was Miles?
Rooster. He used his son.
Oh, I loved Rooster.
Have you seen the way he played it?
Yeah, he did a great job playing Rooster. Like he did the character well. The one who played his nemesis that was always razzing.
He lives here in Austin. He went to UT. He's Glenn Powell.
Yes. Have you seen him in that other World War II movie?
That with Jonathan Majors.
Yes, he did a good job on that.
Yeah. He's gonna be, just like I think Tom Hardy, I think we haven't seen the best of Glenn Powell.
No, he's at the very beginning, just really trying to like.
He's just getting in the pool, it's like when a pool's cold and you don't want to get your balls wet, right? Like tippy toe it into it.
Yeah.
What's fascinating, and I want to know what you think about this, Marvel has, not to bring it back to superheroes, but I think Jonathan Majors may be the best actor of the current generation. He's fucking fascinating to watch on screen. Mm-hmm. Something happened with him and his girlfriend. They got physical. He's going to court for it. But Marvel has like fucking 10 movies planned around this dude.
Oh, man.
So what I'm asking you, Jim, your producer brain, your creative brain, do you recast the dude? Do you go a different direction? How the fuck do you get out of this? Do you wait till the wait to see what the court says? Because I mean, no one went to see Keaton Batman because Ezra was in so much trouble.
Right. So the hard part about that is, especially in today's quote unquote cancel culture, he's guilty whether he goes to court and proven guilty or not.
Right. Just by being on the docket.
Just guilt by association has never been more true than it is today. So I would personally try and see if there's another way around it. Because and the sad part about it is, when an actor dies off, a good example, or when an actor shits his bed, the new Lethal Weapon series, the guy that played Martin Riggs, did a fantastic job.
I really liked him, and I'm Church of Lethal Weapon. Yes,
and he screwed up in his real life and got kicked off, and then they brought in the guy to finish the series
to do Jokey.
Yeah, and it just wasn't the same.
No, and it immediately got just snipped right off there.
Yeah, it just got shot down because the dynamic that the original Riggs created is no longer part of the series, and without that, you don't have it. It's not the same entertainment. It's just a funny cop show.
Right.
We didn't.
We have plenty of those. We wanted Lethal Weapon. You know what's crazy
Yeah,
about that?
the
I
whole
bring I remind Tara all the time. Danny Glover was like 42 in that bathtub.
yeah, yeah. The
By the way, his
the-
oldest daughter comes in and he has to like, I mean, who runs in on their dad in the bathtub? Anyways,
yeah. Yeah, that was funny. The original series of Lethal Weapons was with Mel
perfect.
were amazing. And the cool part, especially between him and Murtaugh in real life, like the movie that Mel Gibson was in, the poker player from the Old West, Maverick, when the guy came in to rob the bank, they pulled the mask down and and they have the Lethal Weapon reference in that second. And again, it's something cool in a movie. If you're familiar with Lethal Weapon, you get it.
It's just great fan service.
That's magic. Yeah, that's the magic of Hollywood. They bring in and tie it together when they do it right.
It's got to be done right.
It's got to be done right. There was a series out a few years ago, actually probably 10 years ago. It was about gladiators, and the original gladiator, who was an amazing actor who played the main role, tragically just died in between seasons.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they brought another one in to replace him.
Never the same.
It actually, that series was a really good transition.
Really, it worked.
Yeah, it worked. That was one of the few times where I've seen it actually work. And they continued and told the story that they were on. And I think the series was out for 3 seasons.
I can't imagine how daunting it is to take over somebody else's character.
Right. Especially imagine the casting director scrambling because you have to find someone that has, the original actor, he had this ambiance and this look and he could go from a really hardcore facial strength to caring and loving in a millisecond, and brought it all out.
And try to duplicate that, right?
Yeah, trying to duplicate that and still
keep you interested.
Yeah, keep you interested. So that is the one time I remember where they replaced him, and they didn't replace him as a new character. They replaced him as his same character, and it worked.
It's man, that's tough. It's such a tough sell. I think especially nowadays because of streaming, because everybody sees everything. Mm-hmm. It's damn near impossible to, Terrence Howard played in that Iron Man movie we were talking about, played Rhodey, and then they replaced him with Don Cheadle. And nobody skipped a beat. Nobody skipped nobody thought anything other than Terrence Howard.
Right.
But man, that is so hard to fucking do. But I gotta ask you this. Thor's bullshit, right? That's not Norse stuff.
The what?
Thor.
Well, Thor is based
on real Norse.
Yes, Thor is a Norse god.
Yes, and it's public use now.
Right, and it's the original comic books when they were writing Thor were based on the idea of Thor from Norse mythology.
It was like way deeper.
Yes, yeah, way deeper. And you can see it in Thor movies, but it's definitely not true to say it. But that's
would you like to see him tap deeper into that? Because lately they've been nerds on the internet and all this Marvel backlash. Folks have been saying they want like the Norse fucking god metal Thor movie.
Well, I think with the popularity of Vikings, the series,
it was huge,
and then followed up Vikings with the other Viking series that came out, then Game of Thrones, like all of that kind of hit all at the same time, and people, their interest changed.
Right, Game of Thrones is a religion.
Yeah. I mean, there's a huge movement of people going into paganism and the religion side.
For real, really? Since that popped?
Yeah, just in general, when stuff gets popular, people kind of flock to it, whether they flock to it fully or whether they
just
want to go
interested and just
balls
kind of
deep.
like check
Yeah.
this out.
Yeah. And then other people like our festival, there's people that come to the festival. All they want to do, same thing when we're on set, is not be me for a day.
Right.
So go in, garb up, drink your mead, blow a horn, watch some music, see all the cool games and excitement, and then forget about who you are for the day or the weekend.
Jim, I'll grow my hair out starting today.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. We have, so the first 3 weekends of December, Saturday and Sunday is the festival days, but the very first Friday is our feast.
Oh, we're coming out. Forget it. We're coming out. Forget it.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome time. And then your wife will love talking to the Cherokee Nation.
Oh no, she would love that. And I play token honky, and I play it better than anyone ever did.
It's Norse culture, so there is no token. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
Right. We're all blondies.
Yeah.
If you could remake any movie, what would you remake? Like passion project shit.
Passion project. I'm not a fan of remaking. Now, I'll tell you what I have enjoyed seeing, like The Lion King, the cartoon to the new.
That was very cool.
They did an amazing job. The realism in the animals, and what a lot of people don't realize, I love animals, as you know.
Yeah, you had a wolf for a pet for a wolf.
Yeah, he's right over here.
What's his name?
Butterguard, come.
What's his name?
Butterguard. It's Norse for wolf.
The Butterguard.
Butterguard.
There he is. What a beauty. Oh, look at this guy. I think he snuggles like a motherfucker.
Yeah. So it's but a lot of the animals.
Hey Tara, come in here.
On The Lion King,
come here, man.
Extinct or dangerously close to being extinct in Africa. And the newer movies that show them almost real is how a lot of people are
really surreal.
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Come over here for just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in a long time on Weirdos at Home, come here. Tara Brown is here. Jim was baptized on a Cherokee reservation.
Very cool.
Apache. Yes, Apache reservation. A Muscalero Apache.
Awesome. That's really cool.
We have an open invitation to his festival.
Awesome.
In December.
And the Cherokee Nation will be out there. We invited the Cherokee Nation out. They're coming out. They're setting up a teepee in the main area. They'll be running our drum circles at night. And they're coming out just to work with us and work with some. So we pick nonprofits to work closely with. And the Cherokee Nation is one of the ones that we're helping to do some things with.
That's so cool. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, and I've been trying to get a hold of the Red Hands because I in Austin I used to work with a group that helped survivors of sex trafficking, and I still do that. I've been doing it since the 80s, but I would love to have a meeting with the Red Hand leaders, the ones who are leading that movement.
Yeah.
And try and get them out there on a regular basis, because that is very, very near and dear to my heart.
And it's a cause that needs to be more well known, and everyone should
100%.
immediately see that red hand and know exactly what it means.
Exactly.
Very cool. Well, I'll let y'all get back to
ladies and gentlemen, Tara Brown, the former Weirdos at Home. Thank you, babe. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so that
appreciate it. Jim, this has been so much fun, man.
Yes.
I gotta say, I can't wait to work with you again. I hope we get to soon work on something together.
Absolutely.
There's so many fun roles. I don't think you give yourself enough comedic credit. You're a fucking hilarious dude.
Thank you.
Your timing is immaculate, and you got a dad bod for days, which always sells tickets. The other night we were messaging about doing this. And you're like, "Oh, I gotta have a filter for losing 30 pounds, dude." I'm
Yeah.
gonna drive out to where you are and just hold you down and kiss you.
Well, as you can tell, we live right on the lake, and I haven't had. We went out there when we first moved, and we've been so busy. I haven't even been to the beach in over a year.
Oh wow! Speaking of, if you haven't seen it, last weekend before last weekend, SNL did a musical number called "At the Lake Beach."
Uh-huh.
Fucking hilarious! I thought of you, country dudes about what goes down at the lake beach.
Oh
I'll
man,
send it to you.
yeah, send it to me. I would love to watch that.
I will, man. Hey Jim, where can folks find you online? Well, what do you got coming up? Where can the festival?
So the festival, you can find me on Facebook. It's Vule Viking Festival. You can also find my personal Facebook page, which is Jim Stovall, and then Instagram is Viking MMA Fitness, Viking _MMA _fitness. So my three loves,
Awesome,
Vikings,
man.
MMA, and fitness.
Dude, come back and get on the show soon sometime, and hopefully I get to see
Absolutely.
you fucking in person soon before we do this again. This was so much fun, dude, and I appreciate you coming on and talking movies and talking acting and really get into it, man. You're the coolest, man, and I will say this: there was never a day I ever ate lunch with you on set where I didn't walk away having learned something I didn't know.
Well, cool, excellent. That's what life is about.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I look up to you in a lot of ways, man, and it's you're a great guest, and this was a blast, man.
Awesome, dude, and thank you for having me on. And maybe one day I'll come out and be on with you instead of
Absolutely. We got this guest bedroom set up. I told you all about all that. It's let me see if I can figure this out. Weirdos at home. Everybody knows where to find me at Sam Slate, all that stuff. How do I stop recording without hang on, I think I got this. It's the end of the show, Jim. I'm just gonna give you a call after this. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. This was a blast. Jim Stovall. Find him, follow him. He's a talent. You have it. Much like Tom Hardy and Glenn Powell, you haven't seen the best of him yet, I don't believe.
Thank you, sir.
I'll call you in a minute.